As we discussed in Tuesday's video, we have the ability to suggest to ourselves a simple statement that would imply that we already are the person we desire to be and accept that suggestion. Upon accepting the suggestion, everything changes to let it happen. Now, you may do things or you may not do things. Those aspects are all automatically inspired by that suggestion, as body is an expression of the subconscious mind, which moves accordingly by law. Today, I'd like to reflect upon the letting it happen part with you. Now, I always recommend listening to yourself and trusting yourself to such a degree of sensitivity that your attention automatically remains in an ideal direction to create your world down to the last detail of exactly how you'd like it to be. While in this flow, unnecessary beliefs that were learned along the way, which may have been helpful before, yet upon further examination with our higher self, like you would with a mentor, are released as the way is paved forward into the new dawn. As you remain aware, lightheartedly focused from your vision without force, they seem to fall aside like garments automatically if they were about to play out by mere observation without judgment. You are thus the observer of the experience, oriented by your vision, and mind remains fluid as it was divinely designed to be, to continue rearranging your world and reflect accordingly. Purity of intent, as I call it in my subconscious mind program, which I'll link to in the description. And to what degree is this true? Well, we're invited to test our faith and realize how everything is done for us. To elaborate further, let's examine this quote here from a book I've been recently enjoying called The Unfettered Mind, Writings of the Zen Master to the Sword Master by Takuan Sōhō, written in the late 1500s, early 1600s, somewhere around there, and translated by William Scott Wilson. It states, "Mind should not be detained by things. Even with speed, it is essential in that the mind does not stop. When the mind stops, it will be grasped by the opponent." So let's explore this mind should not be detained by things part. You see, if one cultivates their inherent ability to remain nimble with their mind, they can in an instant release identification with the things of this world. They would thus not allow themselves to be detained by things, or we could say react to certain experiences by being identified with them through certain subconscious beliefs. Also, as we value the journey to this degree of mental development, experiences in life that are presented automatically from these beliefs that result in a flow interruption are actually revealing what beliefs we are subconsciously identifying with for release. So no need to shame, condemn, suppress, repress, or be in denial. Simply release the identification to that belief. The flow interrupter thus then can be looked at from an empowering perspective as helping us identify where we allow the flow to be interrupted by bringing awareness to it, thus maintaining or even leveling up our flow. And if we encounter that situation again, our flow shall not be interrupted. For example, things that I used to fear before, I'm now excited by, like public speaking. I used to teach these speed reading workshops in 2010, and in the days leading up to it, I would feel fear and anxiety, which was related to beliefs that others would not accept me, not value me, and things like that. So these beliefs were behind the fear emotion. I then created autosuggestions to dissolve identification to those beliefs. As I mentioned earlier, we have the ability to suggest to ourselves a statement or statements, whatever you'd like, that would imply that we already are the person we desire to be, and accept that suggestion. Upon accepting that suggestion, everything changes via the power of your subconscious mind to let it happen, as body and emotions are expressions of what we believe to be true subconsciously, which move us accordingly. So thus, what was once a flow interrupter became a flow enhancer, genuine excitement. As stated in the Unfettered Mind, the mind must always be in the state of flowing. For when it stops anywhere, that means the flow has been interrupted, and it is this interruption that is injurious to the well-being of the mind. So again, the past limiting belief identification is revealed by our subconscious mind. The subconscious is our friend, revealing what is going on within, so we could bring it to peace, resulting in what is known as the ability to bring about at will mushin, mind without mind, or sometimes referred to as no mind, which is the unfettered mind, fluid mind, allowing the vision from the subconscious mind to flow automatically, body moving automatically, following the ideal instructions from the subconscious. And so it states, when this no mind has been well developed, the mind does not stop with one thing, nor does it lack in one thing. So those aspects in the world which could be something in relation to a person, circumstance, information, or environment, have no real ability to sway you from your vision unless you subconsciously allow it based on certain belief identification in mind. So in moments of activation to past limiting beliefs, we are presented with an opportunity to return the mind to its natural, fluid, and dynamic nature, allowing the mind to be purified of those limiting past beliefs while also bringing forth your vision. All of it happens at the same time. Again, to echo this quote, the mind must always be in the state of flowing. For when it stops anywhere, that means the flow has been interrupted, and it is this interruption that is injurious to the well-being of the mind. Now, one might not have understood experientially this inherent ability, which we all have, and as a result of an unhealthy relationship with mind, which is injurious to the mind, as stated here. It is a meta-belief, a belief perhaps about their own mind, in which they reveal it by saying perhaps that their mind is sabotaging them or playing tricks on them, when more accurately understood, it is actually certain subconsciously identified beliefs in mind, which they keep alive in mind by their reactivity or even denial, which perpetuates these certain beliefs playing out. As stated in the Kabbalion, the universe is mental, held in the mind of the All. You see, in the Corpus Hermeticum, it was stated that humanity was bestowed two gifts, mind and speech, and we put into mind, with our speech, what we desire to experience. Mind as a gift is blank, and we have put beliefs in mind, whether we were aware of putting these beliefs in mind or not. So our mind is not a problem unless we want to believe that, and thus torment that believer from that suggestion. Now, as we allow ourselves in the moment, during a window of opportunity for transformation, as I'd like to call it, prior to reactivity to a past limiting belief, you can feel it showing up in the moment. Assume the position of mushin, mind without mind, which again on the surface sounds like not having a mind, but actually means operating from a fluid mind, pure of unnecessary identification. This releases identification to that inharmonious belief, and also at the same time orient us from our vision, while also at the same time initiating the dissolution of the beliefs that no longer serve us. Dissolution, which is part of the spiritual alchemy process. The ancient alchemists knew exactly what they were doing, which, by the way, I'm planning another video on the 7 stages of spiritual alchemy to further discuss. So this allows us to be fluid in situations to transmute obstacles into opportunities wherever we go, and understand experientially, beyond conjecture, the following. It states, if he puts his mind in his opponent's sword, his mind will be taken by that sword. If he puts his mind in thoughts of his opponent's intention to strike him, his mind will be taken by thoughts of his opponent's intention to strike him. If he puts his mind in his own sword, his mind will be taken by his own sword. Now this means to observe that there is no opponent between where you are now and the realization of your vision. We are creating them in mind, as Bruce Lee once said. There is no opponent because the word I does not exist. Feel beyond the words. A deeper part of you understands this and initiates the change. As so it states, putting the mind in one place is called falling into one-sidedness. One-sidedness is said to be bias in one place. Correctness is moving about anywhere. The correct mind shows itself by extending the mind throughout the body, it not biased in any one place. The confused mind is like ice. The ice is unable to wash hands or head. When the ice is melted, it becomes water and flows everywhere, and it can wash the hands, the feet, or anything else. If the mind congeals in one place and remains with one thing, it is like frozen water and is unable to be used freely, ice that could wash neither hands nor feet. When the mind is used like water, extending throughout the body, it can be sent wherever one wants to send it, again oriented by our subconscious vision. So be like water. Assume formlessness as applicable, and do not conform to the patterns of the world by certain limiting subconscious beliefs in mind. Instead, mold your universe to the liking of your vision by letting it be. As it says, if you don't put it anywhere, it will go to all parts of your body and extend throughout its entirety. So the key is here. If you don't put it anywhere, it will go to all parts of your body and extend throughout its entirety. This practically means, for our application, releasing all identification in mind prior to reactivity. In this window of opportunity, you can feel it. Feeling is the secret. Before it is about to play out, and you'll operate ideally while also reaping the benefits that we discuss. Also, as your mind becomes freer from these limiting beliefs that no longer serve you, you'll experience spontaneous mushin, or living that way, which in Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he refers to this as an autotelic personality, one that does whatever they do for the sake of doing. And although there may be a reward, seemingly so, for doing it, they are quite content in the very act of doing, for no other reason other than that is what they want to do. And by living this way, your mind is free to soar again, like it was divinely designed to do. So if you have a challenge entering into a position of mind without mind, in a moment of potential reactivity, it's okay. It becomes easier by simply suggesting to yourself that it becomes easier, which is what a mentor or teacher would say to you anyways in these moments. So you say it to yourself. Listen to yourself. Trust yourself. As James Allen once said, and I believe he was quoting the Buddha when he said, "Those who shall be a lamp unto themselves, relying upon themselves only, and not relying upon any external help, but holding fast to the truth as their lamp, and seeking their salvation in the truth alone, shall not look for assistance to any beside themselves. It is they among my disciples who shall reach the very topmost height. But they must be willing to learn. The true teacher is in the heart of everyone." So you can suggest a statement that calibrates mind into the present. After all, it operates by whatever you suggest to it, such as, "Ideal now." And thus you release all identification in mind. This is what I do at times, and it works perfectly. If the reactivity is still persistent, I recommend, by mere observation without judgment, bringing awareness to the belief behind the emotions that shows up and releasing it with autosuggestions, as I did with public speaking. Or you can find or create your own modality, do whatever you'd like to imply the same thing. So again, 3 ways. And also I'd like to add to choose loving autosuggestions because the subconscious mind will bring forth. Thus I encourage suggesting lovingly for a loving life in healthy relationships with others in your world. Also, which of these work better or easier? Well, they all work, and I deploy them as applicable. I do not have that bias-based belief in mind anymore of which is better or worse. We apply whatever in the moment. Allow your mind to be fluid and think for yourself. This is also how you encourage trusting yourself and listening to yourself. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an autosuggestion to further encourage. You could say, I listen to myself and trust myself as I am my greatest teacher. And thus I know what to do wherever I am. From this premise, my mind is fluid, childlike, as my heart desires and mind imagines into existence wherever I go to reflect that I am already my ideal now. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.